All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep
Ooh, I like that.
into one of those action-packed chapters
Yeah,
in the Gospel of Mark,
it's a good one.
chapter 5. That is,
Absolutely.
we're going to unpack not one, not two,
Oh, I'm intrigued.
but three incredible encounters with Jesus,
Wow. Triple feature.
all happening one right after the other.
Back to back to back action.
It's like a holy highlight reel of healing.
I love that holy highlight
You
reels.
hope it.
All right, so where do we start?
Well, it all starts on the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee,
Okay.
a place called the country of the Gadarenes.
I've heard of it.
Picture it. A wild, rugged landscape.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Tombs kind of scattered all over the place.
Spooky.
And into this scene, we meet a man
Okay.
who is literally trapped by evil spirits.
Oh, this is where it gets interesting.
And when I say trapped,
Trapped, how so?
the text describes him as being bound with chains and fetters,
Chains and fetters. Wow.
but he breaks them.
No one could restrain him.
That must have been terrifying.
It paints this really vivid picture of somebody completely tormented,
Right?
unable to break free from these unseen forces.
It's like a prison, but from within.
Yeah.
Intense.
But then Jesus arrives,
Okay.
and everything changes.
The game changer.
And get this.
Yeah.
The man, despite being in this totally chaotic state,
Right.
immediately recognizes Jesus' authority.
Interesting.
He cries out, "What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God?"
Whoa. Powerful words.
It's as if, even in his torment,
Yeah.
he senses this power greater than the forces holding him captive.
Recognizing something beyond himself.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And it's not just that he recognizes Jesus, it's
Yeah.
how he addresses him,
How
the Son of the Most High God.
Yeah.
This isn't just some random teacher
Right.
or a healer passing through.
There's something more to it.
This is a declaration of Jesus' divine nature.
Absolutely. It's huge. And even the unclean spirits, they cry out.
What do they say?
My name is Legion.
Legion? That's an odd name.
It is. And they say, for we are many.
That sends chills down my spine.
Right. That's not just a name, it's a statement.
Yeah?
Legion was a term for a massive unit in the Roman army.
Right. Thousands of soldiers.
Thousands of soldiers.
So when the unclean spirit says this,
It implies this huge organized force of evil is at work within this man.
it's almost like a glimpse into the unseen, this spiritual battle raging around us.
A cosmic conflict between good and evil.
Right. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
Are we just individuals wrestling with our own internal struggles, or is there something more going on?
It's a good question.
It really is.
Okay, so Jesus confronts this legion.
Yeah, what happens next?
What happens next?
Yeah,
He heals the man, right?
he does.
Okay, tell me more.
And it is a powerful moment of transformation.
Transformational.
The man who just moments ago was totally out of control is now sitting calmly.
Wow. Clothed
Really?
and in his right mind.
It's like a complete 180.
It is. This stark contrast. A visible demonstration of the power of Jesus to break the chains of evil and restore wholeness.
That's incredible.
It is.
But then something really unexpected happens.
What happened?
The townspeople,
The townspeople.
instead of celebrating this incredible miracle,
Yeah, you'd think they'd be overjoyed.
they actually get scared.
Scared?
Yeah. And they ask Jesus to leave.
No way.
Can you believe that?
That's wild.
I know, right?
Seeing a miracle like that would make me want him to stick around.
Right?
But their reaction, it reveals something, I think, profound about human nature.
What do you mean?
Sometimes, when we're confronted with power beyond our understanding,
Yeah.
it can be terrifying.
Yeah.
It disrupts our comfortable world, challenges our assumptions,
Right?
and maybe even forces us to confront things we'd rather ignore.
It's like their fear was rooted in the unknown.
The unknown, yeah. In what this power might demand of them.
Ooh, that's interesting.
They see the healing, but maybe they also see the cost of discipleship.
The cost, right?
The potential upheaval of their lives if they fully embrace Jesus.
It's a lot easier to live in denial, isn't it?
It is.
To keep things tidy and predictable.
Comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable.
But Jesus' presence,
Right.
his power.
It disrupts all that.
It does.
It forces a choice, a decision.
A decision.
Will you embrace the unknown,
Even if it's scary.
or will you cling to your comfort zone?
Even if it means missing out on something truly transformative.
It's a tough one.
It really is.
Makes you wonder how often we do the same thing, even today.
Yeah, good point.
We see glimpses of Jesus' power, his love at work in the world.
We do.
But maybe we shy away because it challenges us too much.
Too much change.
Demands too much change, yeah.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
This story doesn't end with the fearful townspeople.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Because as Jesus is leaving, we're introduced to another person in desperate need of healing.
Another person.
But this time,
Okay.
it's not a man tormented by demons,
Intriguing.
but a woman
A woman.
lost in a crowd.
Lost in a crowd. Wow. And this transition,
Yeah,
so masterful.
it is.
We go from this wild scene with the demon-possessed man
Yeah.
to this woman hidden in a crowd,
Right.
both desperate for Jesus' touch.
It's like Mark is saying.
I like this.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're going
Doesn't
through.
matter what you're facing.
Jesus sees you.
He does.
He cares for you.
Absolutely.
It's like a close-up shot in a movie,
Okay.
focusing in on this woman's
Yeah.
individual story amidst the chaos.
That's a good way to put it.
And her story is heartbreaking.
Oh, tell me more.
She's been suffering from this bleeding condition
Yeah.
for 12 years.
12 years.
Can you imagine that?
That's a long time.
12 years of constant pain,
Right.
isolation,
Probably a lot of shame, too.
and we can't forget the social context here.
Right, the social context.
Back then, her condition would have been considered ritually unclean,
Absolutely.
meaning
Yeah.
she couldn't participate in religious life,
Mm-hmm.
and people would have avoided her.
Wow.
So on top of the physical suffering, she's carrying this heavy weight.
Social stigma.
Social stigma.
Rejected by society.
It's like she's trapped in this double bind,
Yeah.
both physically
And socially.
and socially.
A tough spot to be in.
It's just layer upon layer of suffering.
Oh, yeah.
And the text says she spent all her money on doctors
All her money.
trying to get better,
Trying all the options.
but it only got worse.
Can you imagine?
That feeling of hopelessness,
Yeah.
of hitting rock bottom
Rock bottom.
and still not finding relief.
I think a lot of people can relate to that,
Yeah.
even if it's not a physical ailment.
Absolutely.
We've all experienced those moments where we feel like we've tried everything.
Right.
Exhausted all our options.
Every avenue.
And nothing seems to work.
Nothing.
And yet,
Amidst this despair,
this woman still clings to a shred of hope
she does.
because she's heard about Jesus, right?
She's heard the stories.
And she believes
Believes what?
that if she can just touch his clothes,
Just touch his clothes.
she'll be healed.
Wow.
It's such a simple act of faith,
It is.
but it's rooted in this deep trust
Deep trust.
in Jesus' power.
And what's amazing is
What's amazing,
her faith doesn't disappoint.
it doesn't.
She reaches out,
Because she does.
touches the edge of his garment. Instantly, she's healed. Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
Jesus feels the power go out from him.
Oh, wow.
He stops.
He stops.
And asks,
What?
Who touched my clothes?
He could have just kept walking,
He could have.
but he doesn't.
Intentionality.
He stops.
Yes.
He turns around.
He wants to find her.
He wants this miracle to be acknowledged
To bring her out of the shadows
out of the shadows.
and into the light.
It's such a beautiful picture of how
Yeah.
Jesus sees us,
He does.
even when we feel invisible,
Invisible.
lost in a crowd.
He sees our pain.
He does.
He feels our touch.
Yeah.
And he wants to draw us close.
And then he says those words that must just
What does he say?
washed over her like a wave of relief.
Oh, I can imagine.
Daughter, your faith has made you whole. Go in peace.
Wow, it's powerful.
It's not just a physical healing.
Right.
It's an emotional
And spiritual.
and spiritual restoration.
He calls her daughter,
He does.
acknowledging her worth.
Her belonging.
And he sends her off in peace.
Peace.
Releasing her from the shame and fear that had held her captive for so long.
It's such a powerful reminder
Yeah.
that Jesus' healing isn't just about fixing our bodies.
It's deeper than that.
It's about restoring our souls.
Absolutely.
And just when you think things can't get any more dramatic,
Oh, there's more.
as Jesus is still talking to the woman,
He's still talking.
a messenger arrives,
Uh-oh.
and the atmosphere shifts.
We're going somewhere new.
We're suddenly thrust into
Thrust.
another urgent situation,
Urgent. How so?
a race against time.
It's almost like Mark is
What is he doing?
holding up a mirror to the human experience.
A mirror.
Life is full of these
Yeah.
unexpected twists and turns,
Highs and lows.
moments of joy
Joy,
and sorrow
hope, and despair,
woven together.
all woven together.
And in the midst of it all,
Jesus is present,
he is.
offering his compassion and power to those who seek him.
So who's this messenger?
The messenger.
And what news does he bring?
Well, he's come from the house of Jairus, a synagogue leader who had begged Jesus to come heal his dying daughter.
His daughter.
Think about the contrast.
I know.
We've gone from
I know.
a demon-possessed man
Yeah.
to an outcast woman.
To a respected leader in the community.
A leader.
All seeking Jesus' help.
It really highlights
What is a highlight?
the universality of human need, doesn't it?
It really does.
No matter our social standing,
Right.
our background,
Our beliefs.
we all face moments of desperation.
Moments of desperation.
Times when we need
What do we need?
something greater than ourselves.
Something greater.
To intervene.
And in this case,
Jairus
is facing every parent's worst nightmare.
Oh no.
His child is on the brink of death.
On the brink of death.
He's desperate.
Desperate.
He's put all his hope in Jesus.
All his hope.
But as they're making their way to his house, the messenger delivers the devastating news.
Devastating news.
The girl has died.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine that wave of grief washing over Jairus?
Like grief.
That feeling of utter helplessness?
Helplessness. It's like the bottom drops out of his world.
The bottom drops out. But even in this moment of crushing despair, Jesus doesn't give up.
He doesn't.
He turns to Jairus and says,
What does he say?
Don't be afraid, just believe.
Wow.
He's not going to let fear have the final word.
He's not.
He's redirecting Jairus' focus. Shifting it from the circumstances, which seem hopeless, to the power of faith.
The power of faith.
It's like he's saying, even in the face of death, even when everything seems lost, there's still room for belief. For a miracle.
A miracle. And it's a challenge to us too, isn't it? When faced with impossible situations. Do we give into
what?
Fear and despair?
That we choose to believe. To hold on to that sliver of hope. Even when we can't see how things could possibly work out.
So they arrive at Jairus' house.
And
it's a scene of utter chaos.
There
are mourners wailing.
People weeping.
This overwhelming atmosphere.
Grief and loss.
And then Jesus says something.
Oh, I can't wait.
That completely shocks everyone.
Okay, what does he say?
The child is not dead, but asleep.
Whoa.
What a statement.
That's a bold statement.
He's reframing, challenging their understanding.
Challenging death
itself.
Is he being literal? Is he using sleep as a metaphor?
That's a good question.
Whatever his intention, he's introducing this radical concept that even death doesn't have the final word.
Even death.
And of course, the people in the room, they scoff. They laugh. They think he's crazy. But Jesus, undeterred, sends them all out. Takes the girl's parents and his closest disciples. And goes into the room where she's lying.
He's creating this sacred space.
A
place where
what?
Faith can overcome doubt.
Life can triumph. Over death. And it's in this quiet, intimate setting that we witness one of the most awe-inspiring miracles
I know, right?
in the Gospels.
It's incredible.
Jesus takes the girl's hand.
He takes her hand.
And speaks these words.
Talitha kumi.
Talitha kumi.
Which means,
little girl, I say to you, get up.
Get up.
And the fact that he uses Aramaic here. His native language.
Oh, wow.
It adds this extra layer of tenderness. It's like a whisper of love. A personal invitation back to life. And the girl.
She gets up. There's not this gradual recovery.
No.
It's instantaneous.
Just like that.
She's fully restored to life. Back to her family.
I can only imagine.
The parents' joy.
The overwhelming relief. It's like being given a second chance. A miracle beyond comprehension. And to emphasize the completeness.
Not healing. Yeah.
Mark includes this detail.
What's that?
Jesus tells them to give her something to eat. It's such a simple human touch. But it speaks volumes.
It does.
He's not just concerned with her being alive.
Right.
He wants her to be fully restored. Nourished.
Yeah.
Back to normal life.
It's like He's saying.
What's he saying?
Life is meant to be lived. To be enjoyed. Even after tragedy. Even after loss. There's still beauty. Still goodness to be experienced.
Goodness to be experienced. And it's not just about the girl.
It's not just about her.
It's about the ripple effect.
Ripple effect.
Of this miracle.
Think about the impact.
The impact. On her family.
On the community.
A community.
This one act of compassion.
Compassion.
Of resurrection power.
Resurrection power.
It sends shockwaves.
It's hope and healing outward.
Outward. So we've journeyed through.
We have.
These 3 incredible encounters.
Incredible encounters.
A man freed from torment.
Torment.
A woman restored to wholeness.
Wholeness.
A girl brought back to life.
Brought back to life.
3 very different people.
Very different.
3 very different situations.
Situations.
But all united why?
United by.
Their need for Jesus. Their faith in his power.
Their faith.
And their experience.
Their profound compassion.
Profound compassion. And what's so powerful is that.
Powerful.
These stories aren't just ancient history.
Ancient history, right?
They're invitations to us.
Invitations.
They invite us to consider where we might be trapped, where we might need healing, where we might be clinging to hope.
In the face of impossible circumstances.
Impossible circumstances, they remind us that no matter what we're facing,
no matter what,
no matter how lost or broken we feel, Jesus sees us.
He sees us.
He cares for us.
He cares.
And he offers us. The same compassion. The same healing power. That he offered to these individuals.
2,000 years ago.
In maybe, just maybe.
Maybe.
By immersing ourselves in these stories. By allowing them to touch our hearts. And stir our imagination.
We might find ourselves experiencing a little bit of that resurrection power. In our own lives. It might be a subtle shift. A renewed sense of hope. A deeper understanding. Of God's love.
But it's a start.
It's
a step towards embracing the possibility
of new life, of wholeness, of being fully alive, even amidst the brokenness of our world.
That's a beautiful thought to carry with us.
It is.
So as we wrap up
this
deep dive into Mark chapter 5, we invite you ponder these stories, to let them sink in, and to consider what they might be revealing to you, like your own journey of faith, healing, and hope. Thanks for joining us.